Welcome, Dragonborn. My name is Nacho Bidness, or at least it is here in Skyrim. We're going to continue our quest today for the ultimate gear, the gear that we can craft without exploits, without mods, and without cheats, but is still ridiculously overpowered. I discussed all of the prerequisites for this method in my last video and mentioned that really it requires dedicated choices throughout the entirety of the game in order to get to this point. And that means that the challenge is maintained for the majority of the game, but here at the end we can have a little bit of fun. I mentioned that this is not for the faint of heart, and in part that is because we are going to become a vampire, but also because we are going to consort with Daedra. That is why we're here on Solstheim, because only here on Solstheim can we read the Black Books. The one in particular that we are going to spam and abuse is the Sallow Regent, because it gives our choice between a 10% increase in warrior skills, a 10% increase in magic skills, or a 10% increase in thief skills. And that includes the crafting skills of smithing, enchanting, and alchemy. So I've just taken Seeker of Shadows to improve my alchemy skill. And in addition to the Seeker of Sorcery improving alchemy skill, because I am a vampire, all effects are also more effective. So when I use this alchemy lab, instead of getting a Fortify enchanting potion of 15%, I am going to get Fortify enchanting potions of 17%. I'm just going to craft a couple of these right now because that's all I need at the moment. Now that we have the most powerful alchemy that we can get without any gear, the next step is to go back and get back into Apocrypha and select the Seeker of Sorceries. That is going to improve our enchanting abilities by an additional 10%. So we just pick the Seeker of Sorcery, and we lose Seeker of Shadows, and then head back to Solstheim. The last little bit of preparation that we're going to do before we start actually enchanting something is we are going to put on our Azadal's armor, boots, gauntlets, and helm. It's tempting to put on all of the Azadal armor, but here's why we don't want to do that. As I mentioned in the last video, buried in the text of Azadal's Boots of Water Walking is this thing that says if you wear any 4 relics of Azadal plus 10 enchanting. However, it's not if you wear any 4 or more relics. It is only when you wear exactly 4. So if I take off this ring, for example, and then go look at my enchanting, it is now 112. It would be 110, except that I'm a vampire. Now, these enchanting potions that I have created are a very short duration. The label on the potion says that they are good for a total of 30 seconds. They're actually going to be good for a total of 45. Nevertheless, we are going to have to work quickly to use those things, and so I am only going to pick up the items that I intend to enchant on this first round of the loop. Just to illustrate here, we're already able to create gear that is absurdly powerful. For example, our Fortify Alchemy normally tops out at 25%, but we're already up to 29%. Let's go back and take the potion and see what effect that is going to have for us. So I've taken my potion, which said was 17% for 30 seconds. Note that the clock only starts when I exit this menu. We can see that, again, because of the vampirism and the necromage, we've already gone up to 45 seconds and 21% stronger. Once I actually enchant these items, we're going to see just how strong they are. Now, I don't bother putting a second effect on these things. If you think that you're going to sell them later, go right ahead. But you can see that we're up to 32% increase on our alchemy. Now, because the potion duration is short, I only try to enchant 2 items at a time using those potions. Fortify Alchemy can be placed on head and hands and necklace and ring. And so that's why I've only got those 4 items in particular on my list here. And we have now created Fortify Alchemy gear that is going to be, again, more powerful than anything that can be made in the base game without using this particular method. And at this point, the process is simple. We're going to go back into Apocrypha and pick up Seeker of Shadows once again and make some even more powerful fortified enchanting potions. The thing of it is that there is a limit to all of this. We can keep doing this loop, but it becomes less effective every time we complete the loop. And what that means is that we can do this a total of 4 times to get the maximum possible Fortify Alchemy and Fortify Smithing enchantments on our armor. So I'm just going to make a couple more Fortify enchanting potions. And it looks like my perk that sometimes gives me extra enchanting potions is procced. So I'm just going to dump the ones that I don't want. So we dump that one. You'll see that we're already getting quite a bit stronger on these Fortify enchanting potions. It is now 43%. At this point, the process becomes somewhat tedious. So now that I have showed you how to complete this for the first loop, I am going to either speed up the video or maybe cut to the end. We'll see in post which way actually looks and works better for the video. So I'm going to join you again here in a few moments. At this point, we have looped everything as much as possible. Further recursion of this particular loop will give no additional benefits. My last trip to the enchanting table, my enchanting skill was at 173.5% This time it's going to be at 173.75. It's a very tiny improvement that you get for the final recursion of the loop. So just to make sure that I've got everything all set, I've got my Azadal's armor on, and I've got my Seeker of Shadows. I guess I'm going to need the actual gear that I plan to enchant. Let's make sure I don't have anything in my inventory that I don't need. Again, because we do have to work very quickly. I am going to use one potion per item because I'm going to be a little bit more selective about the final enchantments here. I'm also going to use black soul gems. As I said in my first video on my prerequisites, we're going to be a vampire, we're going to consort with Daedra, and we're going to commit murder in the form of black soul gems in order to take this all the way to the top. Now, gameplay mechanics, there is no difference between a black soul gem and a grand soul gem, but I just like the theme that we are actually basically selling our soul for this kind of gear. So I've got the gear that I need, I've got the potions, so let's get started on this final. Let's see, check one last time. Aha! I almost made a serious mistake here. Now, it wouldn't have mattered so much because I can repeat this again. You end up at the same maximum no matter how many times you have to repeat the loop, because you made a mistake and you didn't necessarily get everything as awesome as it could be on the first try. It's simply a matter of if the loop is not done to the best possible, best optimum level each time, you can end up having to loop it for, maybe 5, maybe even 6 times, as opposed to the 4 that I was able to do here. So we are finally ready to go, and my computer is going crazy. Awesome. Good time for that. Please stop. It's noisy for me to walk across the room and try and get that muted. Let's see. So we're ready to go. Let us go ahead and make some really awesome gear for enchanting and smithing. So I'm going to take my potion and get into the enchanter, and first thing I'm going to select is my armor. Now note that any particular enchantment could go on 4 different pieces of armor. So we want Fortify Smithing for our armor. I also like to take Fortify Stamina for this piece of armor, just because I am a vampire, and so the extra stamina can come in handy if I'm running around during the day. So we'll enchant that, and let's get the next potion out and enchant our next piece of gear. The next piece is the boots. These are actually not necessary. I just like having a complete set. I'll take some Fortify Carry Weight and some more Fortify Stamina, just if I've got a lot of crafting materials or whatever, the extra carry weight can come in handy. So we can craft those. Our next piece of gear is going to be our gauntlets. These can take a Fortify Alchemy and a Fortify Smithing enchantment. So we're going to put those on because we are prioritizing crafting for this particular set of armor. I'll show you in the next video some of the cool things that we can make by having this crafting armor available to us. So we're going to take a helmet, and that will take a Fortify Alchemy enchantment, and I guess we're going to take a Fortify Destruction because I don't know what else to put on there, and a Black Soul Gem. Actually, I probably should have done Fortify Alteration to lower my cost on the Transmute spell. After all, transmuting iron into gold and then using that gold to make jewelry is the fastest way to level the smithing ability. So we've got Fortify Alchemy and Fortify Smithing on this amulet. I would normally name gear that is this awesome, but I just frankly don't want to make everyone have to sit through me tapping away in that ridiculous keyboard on the Xbox. So we're gonna do the diamond ring, Fortify Alchemy, and Fortify Smithing, and our final Black Soul Gem. At this point, we have crafted some pretty incredible armor for either enchanting or smithing, and it is going to be for alchemy or smithing. Again, Azadal's armor is the only equipment in the game that can increase our enchanting abilities. So as we start to craft things in the third video, we are going to keep using the Azadal's armor for the enchanting, but we're also going to use our Dwarven armor and other gear that we have made in order to boost our alchemy, mainly to craft Fortify Smithing potions. Because if I go back to Apocrypha one last time, we're going to be able to make the most powerful Fortify Smithing potions in the game. Those potions are extremely useful because even with Fortify Heavy Armor enchantments, Fortify Weapon Damage enchantments, and such, the actual smithing ability is just out of control. So we're going to take shadows. Oh my gosh, I really wish I had thought to mute my computer. Sorry guys. But it takes a while to do this and I don't want to start the video over. So here we are. We are going to make the most powerful possible Fortify Smithing potion in the game. And here we are, Fortify Smithing. So I'm just going to take some glowing mushrooms and some blister wort because I can grow those in my garden and make a few of these because there's really no point in holding back. They're as strong as they're ever going to be. You can see here it says 195% better, but as I have mentioned repeatedly, because I'm a vampire with Necromage, this Fortify Smithing potion is actually good for, where is it? 243% improvement. Absurd. So that is how we craft the gear that is required in order to make the most powerful enchantments and the most powerful weapons and the most powerful armor in the game. Next video in this series is going to be the last, and I'm going to demonstrate some of the things that we can make. If we want to play a mage, we can play a mage and basically pay nothing for our spells. And we can do it with 3 schools of magic as opposed to 2 if you're a scrub and only use the base game abilities and don't use this particular method. So I'll be sure to show off how to make some mage stuff. We're also going to make some heavy armor and just show off where we can go with that. I hope you'll stick around for that. If you want to see that, be sure and subscribe. If you like this video, be sure and hit the like button down below. If you didn't like, please tell me why in the comments so I can try and do better for you next time. Until next time, my name is Nacho Bidness, and I'm saying it is a great big world out there. Let's go have fun in it.